The Legend of Jigong, Chapter 38.
So let's jump in. The foundational element we have to establish before looking at the crime itself is the socioeconomic reality of the human market during this period.
Right. Because we can't understand the stakes of this narrative without understanding how human life was valued and commodified.
And that brings us to the catalyst for this entire chain of events, a young man named Sufu.
Yeah, so the text introduces Sufu's origins in a way that immediately highlights that commodification we were just talking about.
He isn't from the affluent circles of the city?
No, not at all. He originates from Genoa County. And his entry into this story is rooted in sheer survival. He and his father are refugees fleeing an unspecified disaster or famine.
And they hit a wall where literally the only currency they have left is human life.
Exactly. So his father sells them.
For 50 taels of silver.
For 50 taels, yeah. He is sold to Sube Shan.
Often referred to as Su Yuanwei in the text, right?
Right. Yuanwei is a title denoting a man of significant property and wealth. Elevated social standing, basically.
Yeah.
And Sufu is brought into this sprawling estate to serve as a study boy.
I want to stop and just look at the mechanics of that transaction for a second. 50 taels of silver. I mean, to a modern ear, that just sounds like fantasy currency.
Like video game money.
Totally. But in the context of this economy, what does 50 taels actually represent? Like, what is the actual weight of that purchase?
Well, it represents a massive sum for a commoner. It equates to years of grueling manual labor.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, in a society where a peasant might see only a few taels pass through their hands in an entire year, 50 taels is basically generational wealth for a destitute refugee.
So it's enough for Sufu's father to survive and potentially start over elsewhere.
Exactly. But for Sube Shan, the wealthy landowner, it is petty cash. It is just the cost of acquiring a living piece of furniture for his household.
A living piece of furniture. That's a bleak way to put it, but accurate.
Legally speaking, yes. Sufu is bound to the estate. He sheds his former identity and becomes an extension of the Su family's will.
And usually that kind of structural power imbalance breeds resentment or severe abuse in these historical narratives. But the text throws a real curveball here. Sube Shan is not a tyrant.
No, he really isn't. The environment Sufu is brought into is remarkably generous. The historical record points out that Sube Shan treated his servants with an unusual degree of leniency and benevolence.
Right, because Sufu isn't sent to break rocks or toil in the field.
No, he is a study boy. It is a proximity role, an indoor role associated with status.
And because of the wealth flowing through the household and the master's generosity, Sufu manages to do something quite rare for a purchased servant.
Yeah.
He amasses his own personal wealth.
Which is fascinating. He saves up money while living under the umbrella of his master's protection.
Yeah, he is fed, he is housed, he is safe from the elements and the law, and his bank account is just growing.
He hit the absolute jackpot of the servant caste.
He really did.
Right.
But, human nature kind of abhors a vacuum of conflict. Comfort breeds complacency. And in Sufu's case, it breeds a lethal combination of alcoholism and unchecked hubris.
Yeah, there's a very specific idiom used in the source material to describe Sufu's psychological state when he drinks. It calls him a, quote, hero relying on wine.
A hero relying on wine. That phrase just carries so much baggage.
It does.
It implies that the heroism, the bravado, is entirely synthetic.
It is synthetic.
Yeah.
But it serves a vital psychological function for him. I mean, consider his reality. He is a purchased human being.
Right. No matter how much money he saves, he's still property.
Exactly. So alcohol becomes the great equalizer in his mind. When he drinks, the social hierarchy just dissolves. The alcohol allows him to step out of the subservient role and kind of try on the armor of an untouchable aristocrat.
And he doesn't just quietly harbor these delusions in his room either. He broadcasts them.
Oh, he's very loud about it.
The text describes him sitting in the porter's lodge, which is the main date house of the estate, a highly visible public-facing area, and he's just hurling abuse at anyone who walks by.
Right. And his fellow servants who actually understand the precariousness of their existence, they try to throw him a lifeline. They warn him.
Yeah, they tell him, like, hey, if the master hears this kind of insubordination, you're going to destroy your own life.
But Sufu's response to those warnings just demonstrates the absolute peak of his delusion. He publicly declares that he has no fear of the master.
He even escalates the boast to a treasonous level.
Yeah, he shouts that he wouldn't even be afraid to slap the emperor himself.
Which is insane.
Totally insane.
Yeah.
He rationalizes that even as the emperor ordered his execution, it wouldn't matter. So why should he fear a mere landowner like Su Shan?
He is basically wrapping himself in this bizarre nihilistic invincibility. I mean, he is entirely dependent on Su Beishan for his daily bread and his physical safety and his social shield against the outside world.
And yet he uses his master's own front gate as a stage to diminish the very authority keeping him alive.
Right, and the timing couldn't be worse. Because while he is shouting about how untouchable he is, Su Beishan is literally walking back into the estate.
Yeah, Su Shan overhears the entire tirade. And we should note, this isn't an isolated incident. Su Shan is already carrying the weight of Su Fu's terrible reputation.
Right, he knows about the rumors and the drunkenness.
Yeah, the friction Su Fu causes in the community.
Yeah.
But hearing a purchased servant openly defy the household's authority in the porter's lodge, that is the final breach of the social contract.
So Su Beishan summons him. And this interaction is just fascinating to me because it gives us a clear look at Su Beishan's personal philosophy of governance.
Absolutely.
Because he doesn't resort to the whip, he doesn't lock him in a cellar. He looks at Su Fu and says, I have every legal right to hand you over to the local magistrate for this behavior, but my family is built on a foundation of charity and virtue. I refuse to commit a malicious act just because you lack basic humanity.
Su Shan views himself as a deeply moral actor. In his mind, sending Su Fu to the authorities would result in severe physical punishment, perhaps exile or worse, given his status as a rebellious servant.
Right.
So Su Shan wants to preserve his own karma, his own reputation as a benevolent patriarch. So he chooses administrative severance over punitive violence.
He goes to his desk and pulls out the original contract, the physical document that represents 50 taels of silver and Su Fu's entire identity as a bound servant. And he just throws it into the fire.
He burns the deed to a human being.
Which is just a staggering moment.
It's a profound legal and spiritual gesture.
Yeah.
It instantly dissolves the bond. Su Fu is no longer property.
He is a free man.
He is.
Yeah.
But he is also an exiled man. He is stripped of the Su family, named their protection, and his place in their hierarchy.
And then Su Beishan does something that I really struggle to wrap my head around from a management perspective.
Oh, the severance package.
Yes. He kicks Su Fu out, but he orders the other servants to let Su Fu pack up all of his belongings. And it turns out Su Fu isn't just packing a single bindle, he has several heavy chests full of fine clothes. And he's walking out the door with more than 200 taels of silver in cash.
4 times his original purchase price. He literally leaves the estate a genuinely wealthy man.
And I just have to challenge Su Beishan's logic here. I mean, I look at this through the lens of modern corporate risk management.
Okay.
Imagine you have a deeply toxic, unstable executive. They're drinking on the job, harassing coworkers, actively damaging the company's reputation. You decide you have to fire them. But to avoid a lawsuit or bad press, you give them a multi-million-dollar golden parachute.
Right.
You let them keep their corporate credit card and their network access and all the resources. Like, is Su Beishan actually being virtuous here? Or is his desire to keep his hands clean just blinding him to the fact that he is unleashing a well-funded, highly volatile threat into the general public?
Well, the societal framework of the time dictates a very different view of responsibility than a modern corporate structure. Su Beishan's primary duty is to the order of his own household.
So it's about containment, basically.
Precisely. By burning the contract, he formally demarcates the boundary between his family's honor and Su Fu's behavior. In his view, a free man's actions are his own burden now.
Reclaiming the silver would look bad then.
Yet reclaiming the silver Su Fu saved would be seen as petty, perhaps even tyrannical. It would undermine the very image of benevolence Su Beishan is trying so hard to project.
But the psychological fallout for Su Fu is catastrophic. I mean, he just committed the ultimate career suicide. He was insubordinate, he was caught, and he was fired.
Yeah.
But because he walks out the gate with 200 taels of silver, he experiences 0 negative friction. There is no sting.
The punishment completely fails to register as punishment. Su Fu likely interprets this not as an exile, but as like graduation.
Right, like, I don't need the master. Look at my chests of silver. I am a self-made man.
Exactly. But the tragedy is that he fundamentally misunderstands the nature of his wealth. That silver was only safe when it was protected by the walls of the Su estate.
Because taking that silver out into the open city without a household to back him up is essentially like walking through a shark tank with a bleeding cut.
It's an invitation for disaster.
He is a young, arrogant man with a severe drinking problem, infinite free time, no job prospects, no family structure, and a flashing neon sign over his head that says, unprotected wealth.
Yeah. So he moves into a local inn and just starts idling away his days.
And the inn is the perfect place for the sharks to circle.
Well, the inn is a transient space. It lacks the social anchors of a household or a permanent neighborhood. It is the perfect hunting ground for predators who operate in the margins of society.
And it doesn't take long for Sufu's broadcast of wealth to attract the attention of a man named Yutong.
Who goes by the incredibly theatrical street name Golden Scale Armor.
Golden scale armor. I love that detail. Let's dive into the ecosystem Yutong operates in, because it is a stark contrast to the structured world of the Su estate.
It's a completely different reality.
Yeah, Yutong and his wife Mashi live in a place called Tiao Alley, and they don't have trades, they don't farm, they basically run a very specific kind of grifter economy.
Right, they are parasites on the urban underbelly. The source text makes it clear that the economic engine of their household is actually the wife Mashi.
She's the real mastermind.
She operates under the guise of a matchmaker. But the reality is much more insidious. She is essentially running a localized prostitution ring, facilitating illicit encounters and pulling the strings in the shadows.
She manages the cash flow of all their illicit enterprises.
Exactly. And while she is running the actual business in the dark, Yutong is out in the light, playing the role of the upstanding, respectable citizen.
His entire function is just to serve as the respectable front.
Yeah, he cultivates this air of affability and honor. He pretends to be completely oblivious to his wife's activities. His job is just to wander the markets and the taverns and the inns, looking for marks.
Looking for people with more money than sense.
People who are socially isolated and desperate for a connection.
And he spots Sufu, sitting in the inn, buying rounds of drinks, trying to purchase the respect he just lost at the Su estate.
Such an easy target.
Yeah, Yutong approaches him, and he doesn't just offer to buy him a drink, he offers him a complete identity replacement. He invites Sufu to move out of the transient inn and come live in his home in Tiao Alley.
And they seal this new relationship by becoming sworn brothers.
We really need to unpack the cultural gravity of sworn brotherhood, because it is the mechanism Yutong uses to completely trap Sufu.
We do, because in this historical context, a sworn brotherhood is not a casual friendship. It is a sacred quasi-legal bond.
It's not just grabbing a beer on the weekend.
Not at all. It is an oath taken before the gods, often involving the mixing of blood or the burning of incense, invoking the spirits of ancient heroes like Guan Yu.
It's a declaration of shared destiny.
Exactly. The oath dictates that you share your wealth, you protect each other's honor, and you are bound together in life and death. To betray a sworn brother is to invite cosmic retribution and total social ruin.
So it was a survival mechanism for people operating outside traditional family structures.
Right. It created an artificial family.
But Yutong just weaponizes that sacred structure. He uses the oath as a psychological padlock.
Great way to put it.
It reminds me of the tactics used by predatory casino hosts in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, that's a perfect modern parallel.
Right, like a young guy inherits a fortune or hits a massive jackpot, and suddenly this charismatic host appears. The host comps his room, gets him into the exclusive clubs, introduces him to women, and constantly tells him, like, we're brothers, you're the king here, whatever you need, my family is your family.
Creating a completely controlled environment.
Exactly. The host constructs an artificial reality where the mark feels incredibly loved and powerful right up until the second the bank account is drained.
The casino host analogy captures the mechanics of the isolation perfectly. Yutong extracts Sufu from the public sphere of the inn and physically relocates him into the controlled environment of his own home.
Sufu is now surrounded entirely by Yutong's people.
Yutong's wife and Yutong's narrative. Any outside influence that might warn Sufu that he's being conned is physically cut off.
And for over a year, Sufu lives the illusion. He pays for the food, the wine, the entertainment. He is financing this entire household under the belief that he is fulfilling his duty to his sworn brother.
The silver is just flowing out of his chest and directly into Mashi's ledger.
But the mathematics of a finite resource always catch up. After a year of sustained parasitic extraction, the 200 taels of silver are gone. The chests are empty.
Completely dry.
And the second the money evaporates, the entire architecture of the Brotherhood collapses. The comped suites are gone. The host stops returning calls, essentially.
The atmosphere in the house at Tiao Alley turns incredibly hostile.
But they can't just throw him out onto the street immediately without breaking the public illusion of the sworn Brotherhood, right?
Right, because Yutong relies on that reputation for his next mark.
Yeah.
So they implement a pressure campaign. Yutong and Sufu begin to have constant heated arguments over trivial things.
But the true psychological warfare is orchestrated by the wife, Mashi.
Oh yes, she executes the classic bad cop routine.
It's so manipulative. She isolates Sufu in secret and applies the squeeze. She tells him, look, Yutong is furious. He's calling you a freeloader. He says we don't have the grain to feed you, and he wants to throw you out.
And she frames herself as the protector.
Exactly. She says, I'm trying to defend you, but you have to find a way to bring some money into this house, or you are going to be on the street.
It is a brilliantly sadistic manipulation. Yutong gets to maintain the facade of the reluctant brother who is just being pushed to the brink by economic reality while Mashi turns up the heat.
They are manufacturing a crisis to see if Sufu has any hidden reserves.
They were backing a deeply flawed, desperate man into a corner. I mean, Sufu has already been exiled from the Su estate. His identity was shattered once.
He cannot fathom being exiled again, losing this new family and the illusion of respect he thought he purchased.
When you push someone with no moral compass into a state of panic, they will inevitably look for the path of least resistance to regain control.
And in his desperation, scanning his memory for any possible source of capital, Sufu remembers an old ledger entry.
A ghost from his past.
Yeah, back when he was still wearing the armor of the Su household. Back when he was a trusted servant he was tasked with delivering a loan. A local businessman, a money shop owner named Han Wenqing, owes Su Bishan 200 taels of silver.
Sufu knows the debt is real. He knows the mechanics of the loan. He physically handed over the silver.
So he goes to Han Wenqing's shop to collect. Now, Han Wenqing is presented in the text as an honest, struggling merchant. He acknowledges the debt immediately.
He doesn't try to hide from it.
No, he tells Sufu, like, I know the ledger's due, I don't have the liquid cash today, but I am in the process of selling off a piece of property to cover the 200 taels. I just need a grace period.
And this interaction right here exposes the massive vulnerability in the communication networks of this era. Han Wenqing is speaking to Sufu with deference and respect. Why? Because Han Wenqing operates under the assumption that Sufu is still the authorized agent of the Su household.
That's the craziest part to me. Han Wenqing has no idea that Sufu was fired and had his contract burned a year ago.
Right. There are no automated updates. There is no public registry of employment.
This is the crux of information asymmetry. Authority in this society is largely visual and reputational. Sufu arrives wearing fine clothes, carrying himself with the arrogance of a landowner's proxy.
He is a ghost in the system projecting an authority he no longer possesses.
He is a fired employee who realized the IT department never disabled his credentials, basically. He still has the admin password to Su Beishan's reputation. So Sufu leaves the shop, goes back to Ertiao Alley, and reports to Yutong. He says Han Wenqing owes my old master 200 taels, but he's illiquid. He needs time to sell property.
And this is where Yutong transforms from a passive parasite, draining Sufu, into an active, violent predator.
The switch just flicks.
Yutong sees an opportunity for a massive arbitrage. He doesn't want to wait for Han to sell property. He wants immediate liquid capital, and he knows exactly how to extract it.
Because Yutong is plugged into the human market we discussed earlier. He knows a man named Young Master Luo of Clean Street.
Young Master Luo is actively looking to purchase a concubine, and he has a budget of 200 to 300 taels of silver ready to deploy.
So Yutong does the math. Han owes a debt of 200. Luo will pay 300 for a human being.
It's pure ruthless arithmetic to him.
Yutong looks at Sufu and lays out just a terrifying blueprint. He says, we aren't going to wait. We are going to take a mob to Han Wenqing's house. We will demand the debt immediately.
And when he can't pay...
Exactly. When he cannot produce the silver, we will seize his beautiful young sister as collateral. We will bypass the debt, entirely take the sister, and sell her directly to young Master Luo for cash.
It is a staggering escalation. They are hijacking a legitimate debt owed to an innocent third party, weaponizing the authority of that third party, and using it as a legal shield to commit a brazen daylight kidnapping and engage in human trafficking.
And the execution of this plan is brutal. Yutong doesn't just walk over there with Sufu. He mobilizes his network. He gathers more than 20 local thugs.
The text describes them as hooligans and local tyrants.
Yeah, this isn't a stern negotiation. It's a militarized home invasion.
The presence of 20 armed thugs shifts the dynamic from a financial dispute to an overwhelming application of force. They arrive at Han Wenqing's home, creating a massive, terrifying spectacle.
Han Wenqing comes out clearly panicked by the mob. He reiterates his position. He says, I am selling the property. I will have the silver. Did you not relay my message to your master?
And Su Fu, standing in front of 20 thugs, looks an honest man in the eye and tells a catastrophic lie.
The lie that sets everything on fire.
He says, my master refuses to wait. My master Su Beishan ordered us to come here today. If you do not hand over the silver this Paffy, my master says we are to take your sister to settle the account.
He completely cloaks his greed in Su Beishan's authority. He makes the benevolent landowner the architect of this violence, and the violence erupts instantly.
When Han Wenqing tries to physically block the mob from entering his home, the thugs just beat him to the ground.
It's an absolute breakdown of order. Han's elderly father stumbles out trying to plead with them, trying to protect his children, and they shove an old man into the dirt.
We see the total collapse of community safety in the face of organized aggression. But the source text includes a detail here that is vital to understanding the social fabric of the neighborhood.
Right.
The neighbors do not just close their shutters and hide.
Yeah, this really stood out to me. We talk constantly in modern true crime about the bystander effect. The idea that people will watch a tragedy unfold and assume someone else will intervene.
But the neighbors in Han's community actually step up.
They hear the screaming, they see the old man on the ground, and they try to physically intervene to stop the kidnapping.
It demonstrates that the community possessed a strong moral compass and a willingness to police its own streets. However, moral courage is often insufficient against overwhelming premeditated violence.
The neighbors are unarmed civilians.
Right. They are brutally overpowered and beaten back by Yutong's 20 hardened thugs.
So the thugs smash their way into the house, grab Han's young sister, throw her into a cart, and drag her back to the fortified compound at Tiao Alley.
And we really must pause to consider the psychological reality of the sister at this moment. The text does not gloss over her suffering. It provides a grim, horrifying detail about her captivity.
When they get her into Yutong's house, they don't just lock the door. They have to physically bind her arms behind her back with heavy rope.
Because, as the text explicitly notes, if her hands were free, she would have immediately killed herself.
It is a devastating testament to the reality of the concubine market. She is a woman of a respectable, albeit struggling, merchant family. She understands exactly what being sold to young Master Luo entails.
It means the complete obliteration of her honor, her agency, and her future.
She is facing a lifetime of subjugation. To her, suicide is not an act of despair. It is the only remaining assertion of control over her own body.
Yutong has to tie her up simply to preserve the financial value of his stolen asset.
The cruelty is just suffocating, so the trap is sprung, the asset is secured. Mashi, the architect in the shadows, immediately sends a messenger to young Master Luo.
She tells him, we have a prime candidate. The price is 400 taels.
Luo sends word back saying, I am getting on my horse. I will ride over to inspect the merchandise, and if I approve, I will pay the silver.
They are sitting in the house at Tiao Alley, the sister bound in the corner, waiting for the knock on the door that will bring them their fortune.
And the knock comes. Su Fu, high on adrenaline and the illusion of his restored power, sprints to the door. He swings it open, expecting to see young Master Luo standing there with chests of silver.
But the man standing at the threshold isn't the buyer.
No, it is the architect of his original downfall. It is his former master, Su Beishan.
And Su Beishan is not alone. Standing beside him is the bruised and battered Han Wenqing.
Beside him is Han's elderly father.
And standing slightly apart, orchestrating this entire convergence, is the monk Jigong.
Let's break down the mechanics of this rescue, because this is where the narrative shifts from a crime thriller into something profoundly strange.
It really pivots here.
Su Beishan looks into the house. He sees his disgraced former servant. He sees Yutong. He sees the bound girl. The lie is instantly exposed.
Su Beishan is vibrating with rage. He brought his own household muscle, his loyal servants Su Lu and Su Sheng. He orders them to seize Su Fu and Yutong.
The physical threat is neutralized immediately. Han Wenqing rushes past the thugs, unties his sister, and they secure her in a sedan chair to transport her back to the safety of their home.
The immediate trauma is halted.
Su Beishan also utilizes a specific mechanism of local law enforcement here. He calls in the Dabao. For you listening trying to map this onto a modern system, what exactly is a Dabao?
The Dabao functions as a local warden, or a precinct captain, basically. They're not high-level magistrates, but they are recognized by the state as the baseline authority for maintaining order in a specific neighborhood.
So they are the first responders of the state system.
Right. They have the power to detain individuals and maintain the chain of custody until the formal legal system takes over. Subishan orders the Dabao to hold the culprits.
And Subeishan's instinct is to follow the standard operating procedure of a law-abiding man of status. He points at the restrained kidnappers and says, "We have the evidence, we have the victims, march them straight to the Canton County Yamen."
The Yamen being the center of state power. It is the police station, the courthouse, and the administrative headquarters of the regional magistrate, all consolidated into a single fortified complex.
It represents formal, punitive justice.
Exactly. But this is where Jigong intervenes and completely derails the standard legal process.
He steps in front of Subeishan and says, "No, we are not taking them to the Yamen. We are going to bypass the state authorities entirely. I want you to drag these men back to your private estate."
It is a deeply irregular demand. Taking violent criminals back to the very household they just falsely implicated is highly unorthodox.
It's beyond unorthodox. It feels dangerously close to vigilantism.
It does.
But they follow his orders. They march the bound men back to the Su estate. Subeishan, trying to accommodate this strange monk, opens the doors to his formal study and says, "Master Jigong, please use my study to conduct your interrogation."
And Jigong says, "No, the study won't work. I need to interrogate them in your private bedroom."
He actually forces Subeishan to go into the bedroom and tell his wife to vacate the premises so a monk can interrogate kidnappers next to her mattress.
The request borders on the absurd.
I am going to push back hard on Jigong here. When I read this, I was just baffled. Why the bedroom? Is Jigong just an eccentric monk who loves theatricality? Is he mocking the formal legal system? Or is there an actual tactical advantage to moving a criminal interrogation out of a courtroom and into a deeply intimate domestic sleeping space?
Well, your skepticism is entirely justified, but Jigong's methods are rooted in a masterful understanding of spatial psychology. Consider the environment of the Yamen.
Okay.
The Yamen is designed for adversarial combat. It's a public arena with established rules of engagement. Criminals, particularly career grifters like Yutong, understand the mechanics of the Yamen.
They know the game.
Exactly. They know how to construct an alibi, how to exploit a lack of physical evidence, and how to deflect blame in front of magistrate.
They have their armor on when they walk into a courtroom?
Precisely. The courtroom is their expected battlefield. By rerouting the interrogation to a private domestic bedroom, Jigong completely strips them of their environmental defenses.
The rules of evidence no longer apply.
Right. The acoustics are different, the lighting is different.
Yeah.
They're entirely disoriented. Furthermore, Jigong is weaponizing his own mythology against Sufu.
Right, the text mentions that Sufu is deeply terrified of Jigong specifically.
Sufu believes down to his marrow the rumors that Jigong possesses omniscience, that the monk can see past, present, and future events.
Which is a terrifying prospect for a guilty man.
Exactly. If you put a man who believes he is facing an all-knowing deity into a formal courtroom, he might still try to use legal loopholes. But if you lock him in a quiet, intimate bedroom with that deity, the psychological pressure is crushing.
Sufu believes that any lie will be instantly detected and met with supernatural punishment.
He believes he's in a psychological black site. So the interrogation begins.
And Jigong's methodology is just as bizarre as his choice of venue. He doesn't sit them in chairs. He forces Sufu and Yutong to kneel on the floor.
But he doesn't have them face him.
Right. He forces them to kneel facing Subeishan's bed. And as he asks the questions, Jigong is literally pointing at the mattress and talking to the bed as if it is the magistrate.
It is a brilliant piece of theater designed to shatter their remaining composure. He looks at Sufu and demands tell the truth. Who engineered this kidnapping?
And Sufu, whose psychological defenses are completely eroded by the bizarre environment, and his terror of Jigong's omniscience just breaks.
He doesn't even try to hide behind Yutong.
No, he confesses to the entire timeline. He admits he was fired for his drunkenness. He admits he blew through his 200 tales of severance. He admits that Yutong masterminded the plot to hijack the debt and steal the sister to sell to young Master Luo.
He provides a complete, unvarnished confession.
Then Jigong turns his focus to Yutong. Now, Yutong is a harder target. He is a career grifter.
He tries to mount a defense.
Yeah, he lies claiming he was just trying to help his sworn brother collect a legitimate debt and that Sufu was the one who escalated it to kidnapping.
But Jigong doesn't allow him the space to build the lie. He cuts him off with absolute authority. He points at Yutong and says, "Do you believe? I do not see the darkness in your heart. Tell the truth, or your life ends here."
And Yutong, realizing that his sworn brother has already folded and that he is trapped in a room with a man who seemingly knows everything, recognizes that the game is over. He caves.
He confesses to being the architect of the human trafficking plot.
And throughout this entire double confession, Jigong is still talking to the bed.
Which is wild.
He points at the mattress and says loudly, "Do you hear this? Remember this face. Tomorrow when you set out to exact your revenge, you were prepared to murder an innocent man without cause. Do you see the magnitude of your mistake?"
It sounds like the ramblings of Madman.
Until the narrative reveals the twist that makes the entire architectural setup of this scene snap into perfect horrifying focus.
The assassin under the bed.
Yes. Lying flat on the floor, hidden beneath the dust ruffles of Su Beishan's bed this entire time, is Chen Liang.
And Chen Liang is not a burglar.
No, he is a highly trained assassin. He fits the archetype of the wandering hero, the vigilante who operates outside the law to punish the wicked.
And why was he waiting in Su Beishan's bedroom with a blade?
Because he had heard the rumors on the street earlier that day.
We have to trace the path of the weaponized misinformation here. Su Fu stood in front of 20 thugs and publicly declared that Su Beishan ordered the kidnapping of an innocent girl over a debt.
That lie echoed through the neighborhood.
And it reached the ears of Chen Liang.
And Chen Liang didn't investigate. He didn't ask for a second source. He heard that a wealthy, powerful landowner was using thugs to traffic women, and he decided to act as judge, jury, and executioner.
He infiltrated the estate, bypassed the guards, slipped into the master bedroom, and waited for nightfall to assassinate a tyrant.
He was acting on a foundation of absolute righteous certainty built entirely on a fabricated premise. And the genius of Jigong is that he knew Chen Liang was under the bed.
The text notes that when Jigong first walked up to the bedroom door, before anyone else entered, he spoke into the empty room.
He said, "Are you here? The appointment. I have an appointment, and we won't leave until we see each other."
He was letting the assassin know that the room was compromised.
Jigong's intervention here is just a masterclass in complex problem solving. We really have to look at the philosophical divide between punitive justice and restorative justice to understand why he bypassed the Yamen.
Let's explore that alternative timeline. What happens if Jigong allows Su Beishan to take the kidnappers to the state authorities of the Yamen?
Right. If they go to the Yamen, the state machinery functions exactly as designed. The magistrate hears the evidence, Su Fu and Yutong are found guilty of kidnapping, and they are punished.
This state achieves its punitive goal. The physical crime is resolved.
But the state is entirely blind to the informational crime. The state doesn't know about the lie echoing through the streets.
The state doesn't know about the assassin waiting in the dark.
Exactly. If they go to the Yamen, Su Beishan eventually returns home exhausted from the legal proceedings. He walks into his bedroom, gets into bed, and Chen Liang, who still believes Su Beishan is a human trafficker, crawls out from under the bed and murders him.
The state punishes the guilty, but allows the innocent to be slaughtered because it cannot see the invisible threads of misinformation.
Jigong sees the entire board. He recognizes that he's dealing with a dual-layered crisis. He has a physical crime that has already occurred, the kidnapping, and an invisible crime that is about to occur, the assassination.
By dragging the perpetrators into the bedroom, he turns the interrogation into a bespoke, targeted broadcast.
He forces the would-be assassin to listen to the unvarnished truth directly from the mouths of the conspirators.
Chen Liang hears Su Fu admit to hijacking the master's name. He hears Yutong admit to organizing the thugs.
The text describes Chen Liang lying under the bed, experiencing a profound psychological collapse of his own certainty.
He thinks to himself, I was entirely wrong. Su Beishan is a virtuous man. His servant was counterfeiting his authority. If this monk had not brought them here, I would have stained my soul with the blood of an innocent.
Jigong is practicing a pure form of restorative justice. His goal is not merely to punish. His goal is to repair the cosmic fabric of the community.
He rescues Han's sister, restoring her safety and honor. He extracts the confessions, ensuring the guilty will face consequences. He clears Su Beishan's name, protecting the estate's reputation.
But most importantly, he saves Chen Liang from committing a tragic, irredeemable moral failure. He saves the assassin's soul just as surely as he saves the master's life.
He defuses the bomb by removing the detonator, which in this case was the false narrative.
And the way the scene resolves is just dripping with tension. After the confessions are complete, Su Beishan, who is completely oblivious of the fact that he was inches away from being murdered, looks at Jigong and asks Master, "Who on earth have you been shouting at?"
And Jigong just smiles. He says, "Don't worry about it. Pour the wine."
They pour a glass of wine. Jigong takes a sip, sniffs the air, and casually remarks, "I smell something. A thief smell."
Subishan, confused, asks where the smell is coming from. And Jigong slowly points his finger at the floorboards and says, "Under the bed."